Hello, and welcome to the VR Untethered podcast, where we are untethered from any semblance of reality, as you can see, because not Josh is in evidently a Microsoft Paint world. So,
excuse me?
you are in an MS Paint world.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
Well, that's probably not going to show on the sub podcast because it crops sort of like this, but in the upper left of your background it says Untitled Paint, and it shows on the left hand all of the tools, and up on the top of the edit, view, image, colors.
Oh, hey, that's great. That is really top notch. Weren't we talking about how good Skype is just a minute ago?
So.
Okay, pardon the technical problems here on our futuristic discussion of technology. We try
he drinks from his disappearing mug.
Hey, that's about the height of technology. It disappears and the coffee stays in place.
Yep. So, I'm not Brad, that's not Josh, but I am Josh, and that is Brad.
Glad to clear that up. I was one.
But he's not Brad Pitt. But I am Josh Holloway.
Wait, no, that's not Brad Pitt at all. Okay, yeah. Sorry.
Okay. So, let's start off. Do you have any highlights? Not Brad Pitt.
Do I have highlights for you, not Josh Holloway? My highlight this week would have to be the ongoing discussion between the members of our group involving the bowling alternatives we have on our Quest. Do we wish to play the premium bowling game, which seems to be very controversial? I mean, really, some people seem to like it. Some people don't like it. Everybody agrees the physics are good. Everybody agrees the graphics are not. The ball floating in midair.
The lanes themselves, the graphics are fine. It's the avatars and whatnot, and it's not as fun and vibrant as the other bit. But yeah, as far as the graphics goes, the quality of the graphics is fine.
Right, exactly. And the physics is fine as well. It's just sort of a dead space as compared to Forever Ball or 4VR or whatever it is.
It's Forever, I believe, yes.
Yeah, that's, wow, they keep playing with this VR stuff. It's weird, But anyway, it does give you a whole lot more interaction. Just with, you can see the avatars are actually like alive. They could clap. You could, you feel like you're bowling with people, as opposed to the other game where you feel like you are
in
Five Nights at Freddy's. Right, it's Five Nights at Freddy's with bowling. You're just not gonna get a big bear tapping you on the shoulder.
Yeah, so, and the postures those avatars have is like.
Yeah, they need to, that is a real problem that's starting to happen, especially it seems like with the Quest development, where the games get better, which is great, but they don't start out great, which sucks. So,
right.
It's like, yeah, it's good that you're making it better, but by the time you've turned everybody off from it, because
yeah.
It's like Solaris all over again. It's just, you have the developers that see where their people want to go and they take them there. And then you have the developers that tell the people where they should go and they take them
and
there.
Drive them away.
Exactly. It's like, no, you can't go there. So
now, that said, the premium bowling is working on the areas that it is lacking, but they've been out for what, a year and a half?
A long time. It seems like forever.
Yeah, and the Forever Bowl comes out of the gate nailing all this stuff.
Exactly.
The only thing that they didn't nail was initially they had worse physics, but they almost immediately improved that, and now their physics are on par with Forever Bowl or with Supreme Bowling.
Right.
They're just a little bit different, So.
And they're more interesting on the balls as well. The graphics are just more colorful and more interesting, the whole Pro
Yeah.
Shop thing. So that's nice. And I saw that Mini Walkabout is extending their game as well with some new courses that they've added. And
Yeah.
well, I mean, all the developers seem to be adding stuff like virtually every week or every other week to one game or another. So,
Right. Now, I need to apologize to our viewers because we tried to clear this up, but you might experience some bad audio during this because Skype is deciding to be a pain in the butt and to break up our audio periodically. So just to bear with it. We couldn't find a solution, and we decided to press on anyways. So
here we go, and hope you heard that. So yeah,
yeah,
thanks for this.
yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, as one of the members of our Discord put it, it says premium bowling is a pancake game as well, and it shows. Whereas Forever Bowl was designed with VR in mind from the beginning, and it shows.
Right. And
Forever Bowl was made by ex Zynga people who know how to make addictive games.
Right, and you really don't need to be pushed into being addicted to bowling. If you enjoy bowling, then this is going to get you to, a non-COVID safe, mask-free bowling environment. So.
Yep. The only drawback is, as has an uploaded article mentioned, there's no real weight to the balls because you're just holding your controller. Well, duh.
Right. I mean, but you see
that's true when you're waving a sword in Gargantua as well. I mean, some of the swords in Gargantua would be so heavy that neither you nor I would be able to lift them in real life.
I know. But then again, it would be nice if they could do something to give the feel of weight without building a controller like a bowling ball.
Right. Well, they do give a feeling of weight to the balls in Forever because the different weights react to differently when you throw them and when they're on the lane. So it does give a feeling of that.
Those light balls
can't throw a 16-pound ball faster than you can throw an 8-pound ball. So.
Right. And the 8-pound ball flies a lot higher than the 16 on release. So, that's probably not a good thing. The only other thing that I was reading was that premium bowling gives you a lot more help in not getting into the gutter.
Yes, I noticed that as well. Evidently, the premium bowling developers said that that's when it detects a bad throw, as in tracking related, as in it doesn't know precisely where the controller is, so it assists it and curves it away from the gutter, which is all well and good, but it does that more often than Forever does, and so Forever has a few balls that are called gutter avoider balls that their special power is they do a slight nudge away from the gutter. They don't keep you out of the gutter necessarily. If you roll straight towards the gutter, you'll still go into the gutter.
Okay, so it's not like the rails that they use for the kids,
Right. It's not a bumper, yeah. Also, in premium bowling, you can fault. I had that happen a couple times. I don't know if it showed up in the video that I made of it or not, but if you if you are standing right at the line and your head crosses over the line, it counts as a fault.
Okay, then.
In Forever, you can't move past that line, and and if you lean forward, it doesn't detect your head going over it as a fault.
Well, that's good. Since all the fault detectors I've ever seen are on the floor anyway, so it's
Yeah.
okay.
So,
If you
but
want,
one thing Premium does have going for it is it has teams and leagues built into it. I
right?
like that, and if Forever can implement something like that, that would be awesome. That would be
Sure.
great for esports.
Well, for esports, or they could do something the way that they do it in Blast On, where you could meet up and form your own teams and leagues. You just have a
Right,
separate room in the back to do that,
right.
and but
Yeah, yeah,
it shouldn't be that difficult. Well, of course, me sitting playing it shouldn't be that
right.
difficult. The
Well, yeah.
developers might disagree.
The idea is not so that difficult. Implementing it might be a little bit of a different story.
Right. It'll take a little longer than this conversation. So yeah,
Yes.
see that being.
Yeah. But both developers seem responsive. Forever seems a lot more responsive, in my opinion. But
Well, his
and
mom.
they are running an event this weekend to celebrate their 1 month bowliversary. So basically, if you play a multiplayer match, whether a private party or a public party one, and you win that match, you get 50,000 coins, which is enough to buy all of the ball that you have unlocked.
That's something. I mean, it's good that they have things going like this already, because that'll bring more people in. It's weird because I was looking the other day at the sales that they had to see if there's anything I don't own, and not much. But I noticed as I'm looking down the list of the games, how some games have 200 sold and some 400 and some have 350. And then you get to Demeo, which is like 27,000. It's just like,
Yeah.
and you go, okay, there's a bit of a difference here in the amount of
Yeah.
sales in some of these games. So,
Yes. That one is an immensely popular game, yes.
you think? Well,
Yes. So, anyways, moving on to some of my highlights. One that I have not posted a video about from the Steam Next Fest. I just wanted to highlight that here for a second in the highlight section. Uh, Into the Darkness. This is kind of a Boneworks, Half-Life Alyx, Portal feeling game. It's got Boneworks style physics for the most part. It's got gravity gloves like Half-Life Alyx, and it's got a AI person talking to you the whole time that at one point sounded like it was hinting that it might turn into the GLaDOS style core, from the Portal, and actually be an enemy. So
okay, now I know why you picked those three games. Okay.
yes, so but it is a game where you are a special agent basically, and you have to go in and find out what happened to everybody that's going in to investigate an incident at the Project Eden research facility, which is full of robots that are all programmed to be nice and friendly robots, except for the ones that are being tested for combat, I guess. But they're all programmed to be combat robots now, and they all want to attack you. But just like the zombies or whatever in Boneworks, they walk towards you slowly, so you have plenty of time to reload your gun, shoot, reload, or go, okay, backpack, oh, crowbar, you know. So
Okay, so iRobot. Got it.
But yeah, I mean, the whole robots gone bad idea isn't necessarily a new idea, obviously.
You think? Yeah, we'd have to let Asimov and Bradbury know about that.
But the demo feels fun. It's got crafting in it, where you have to collect material, drop them into the grinder to harvest them, and then you can 3D print based on blueprints you unlocked and all that. So, you know.
I just think grinder is a perfect name for anything you have to use in any of these games over and over again. A grinder.
Yeah. So, anyways, it was a highlight. It was fun. It felt cool. It had great graphics, and it played well and all that, and it was pretty polished for an early alpha demo. So.
Well, the only thing that I will say is that Robo Recall is still getting great reviews. I mean, it's amazing. People that are just getting into VR still think, and I have to be honest with you, it was the game that probably dragged me in the most at the beginning, and it still is it's like super.
I know, it's a great game, and I've only ever played the demo of it in the store. I don't have it yet. I will probably get it soon, hopefully before the current discount goes away.
Yeah, I was going to say Robo Recall. I know some people don't teleporting as opposed to walking, but it's fun. Robo Recall is a really fun game. The graphics were really great. There was humor involved. When you realize how old the game is and where they can go, it's just like, how is there no Robo Recall 2 yet?
I know, right? Yeah. Which includes walking.
Exactly. Right? All they have to do is just a few minor bumps and change some of the scenes, and you have a whole new game. It's crazy that they don't.
So another highlight was I played Walkabout Mini Golf with my entire family, with my wife and my son. Because it's a game that does not use the Oculus login, so you each my wife's Quest 2 and my son's Quest 1 are both on my wife's account, but he was able to play with us in the multiplayer game. So
cool.
And my wife got a touch of vertigo because she opted to have us play the outer space level, where there was just the yawning black void of space beneath her feet.
This is why I hated Cloudland mini golf. I mean, it was just like, why am I standing on the edge of the universe here, ready to fall a billion feet and concentrate on this little putt? It's like, I never loved that. I really didn't. So I can see where that would be a bit disorienting.
Yeah, but for me,
I know, we could hold you upside down and put you in a blender.
Now, on the other hand, to get me on a real mountainside, on a real path that's just wider than I am wide, lined with loose gravel and a steep 90-degree incline, or it's not 90-degree, but like a
45.
80-degree or something like that. Not quite a perfect cliff, but a little bit of a slope. And I will get nervous because that's real.
Yeah. Understood?
Uh, Now, my last highlight was I jumped back into Skyrim for a bit last night, and I finally got a ghost sword, and a ghost battle axe, and a ghost bow.
I'm assuming that's good.
Well, not necessarily good, just cool.
Oh.
These are translucent spectral weapons, and they all had enchantments on them, like drain 15 points of health from the target with every hit, drain 15 points of stamina, or absorb 15 points of magicka. So, so if you're shooting an enemy that is a magic user with the bow, your magicka is getting replenished, but his is getting diminished.
That's the way it would work.
So, so it's nice, and they look cool, and they don't weigh very much. I'm kind of surprised that they have any weight at all, given that they are spectral. But they weigh like 3.
Okay. Yeah, I saw Skyrim was on sale this week. Everything seemed to be on sale this week.
Well, yeah, we're going to touch on that a little bit later. But yeah, there are a lot of sales going on right now.
Everybody wants your money. Whatever Amazon left in your pocket, everybody else wants it.
Yeah. So, anyways, it's always fun to get back in to Skyrim, and I am near the end of a quest line that I was working on there. Well, one part of the quest line is like a long quest line filled with multiple sub quests, and I'm almost done with this sub quest, which is going to involve fighting an enemy that can drain you of all of your magicka, which is why it's so nice to have a bow that can drain him of magicka while replenishing mine.
Sounds tedious, actually. You take some of mine, I'll take some of yours. You take some of mine, I'll take some of yours. Yeah, it sounds like grinding there, Josh. It sounds like a bit of a grinder.
Maybe. Speaking of naming things grinder for when you have to grind, do you remember Orbis and how they had the grinder device?
Yes.
That you could throw out on the battlefield while you were grinding enemies. They acknowledged that it was grinding.
Right. I mean, yes, I don't understand why they take well, I do, but I don't understand why you take a good 5-hour game and turn it into a 25-hour game by destroying the fun, just making you grind up.
Well, Skyrim isn't exactly grinding because it's a different quest.
Right.
Each time, it has a different story and all that, and yeah, some of the enemies are the same, but it doesn't feel like grinding,
They're not
because it's not just wandering around the overworld. Oh, random encounter. Oh, random encounter. Oh, random. No, it's not that. So
and they're not all star threshers and
right.
Where all the enemies look identical. One of them is pink and one of them is red. Yeah, Orbis never really impressed me. They would have to redo the entire world in order to get me back in there.
Yeah. So with that, let's move on to the new releases, which technically there were no new releases for the Oculus Quest this week. But I've got a couple of things in our new releases column. One is the Synth Riders Out of This World update, which I have not personally checked out yet, but it brings new stages and it brings 120 hertz and using the Oculus avatars. So I will be checking that out.
Right.
Because it sounds good, and Synthetic usually does a great job with their new stages and all that. So.
Right, and it's some of the members on the Discord really keep pushing us to play it again. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, back into the golden oldies again, and
Yep.
you know.
Yep. And I got an email announcing that Vive Sync is now available for download. This is their collaboration software, basically. Way back when, if you remember, they had the Journey to the Next Normal or whatever, it's a big thing, and they were announcing the Vive Suite, where they were going to cover workspace collaboration, they were going to cover education, just plain social VR, a whole bunch of different things that are all just scattered all over the place right now, and they were going to make a suite of things, and VR chat was going to be, part of the Vive, the social part. But this is the first time that I've seen one aspect of that suite coming to life. So they are still working on that.
Like Horizon. Okay, we'll see what happens with that. Because Adobe also, if we're going to get into just companies doing stuff, Adobe is just released their, I'm going to figure out what they're calling it now. I think it's Spectre. It's based on Medium, and it's for the creation of 3D.
Yeah, that's in the news, yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, step on me news.
You didn't look at the Trello board.
I did, but I forgot it already. It was so full of juicy information.
Well, you need to keep it up in the background. Because if you Alt-Tab out of Skype and have a browser window pulled up, you still have a little window where you can see my beautiful face.
That's true. I can do that, I suppose.
So, anyways, moving on to the upcoming titles. Obviously, we have the Rat King expansion for Demeo coming on Monday.
Yay!
Everyone's hyped about that.
Can't wait.
It's going to bring new enemies, new cards,
A lot more ratness.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. It seems
Rat
like
bombs.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be a frat house. So, yeah. No, it looks, hey, if it's anything like the first run through there, it's going to be great. So
Yeah. And technically, Tuesday, if you pre-order, if you don't pre-order, Thursday, we have Chess Club.
Pre-order.
Looks cool. So,
it does. Chess Club looks absolutely awesome. I
can pretty much guarantee most people are going to be playing with the fantasy set, not the plain set.
Oh, yeah. The plain set seems kind of like, why did you do this? Right?
Yeah.
Why bother? But yeah, it's look, I enjoy chess. This will give us a chance to play again for people that enjoy it but haven't played in forever.
Yeah, and it's supposed to have hand tracking as well as the controllers. So I would imagine that, in theory, if you really wanted to, you could set up a real-life chessboard in front of you with your pieces and actually reach out, grab your piece, move it, and go for that tactile.
Yeah, true. Or you could just hold one there, but yeah, it looks great, and the graphics look very Demeo type graphics for your players. Your chess player pieces. And the way the entire environment changes around you, it seems like it's going to be better than just playing regular chess in the middle of your room by yourself and saying, Queen 7 to, it's like,
Queen 7 to Knight 4.
You bastard!
You sank my battleship.
Didn't they come out with Battleship for Quest also? Just
No, I think there was one on the Gear VR but I'm not, or the Oculus Go, but I'm not sure if they're. I don't. There might be one in side quest. I don't know.
Yeah, I think there is one. I don't know if it's SideQuest or App Lab or something, but I think I saw something about that, and I just.
I mean, it's another one that would to kind of make sense, you know.
Oh, of course it would. Much more so than that would actually be a lot of fun to be able to play that in VR.
Yeah. So, and in July, which is coming sooner than you think, we have Sam & Max. This time it's virtual, which is you are a recruit going into a police force, and Sam and Max, two zany cartoon characters, are training you and just putting you through a bunch of the tests and whatnot. So,
if you've never encountered Sam Max before, prepare yourself. It's for calm, and Sam & Max is about as insane as it gets. It really is. Have you played any Sam & Max games?
No.
Oh my God. Get ready for crudity, get ready for insanity, and get ready for, you want to talk about untethered? They could be our mascots. Sam & Max are the most untethered from reality characters you're going to meet. So,
as long as it's just untethered and not crude like Trover, I'd be fine with it. If it's crude, then I'll pass on it.
It's gonna be crude.
My dog is barking in the background.
Gotcha.
He heard something outside. I don't know what. But
meanwhile,
Walkabout is going to Steam on July 15th. Walkabout Mini Golf. So
yay.
And last but not least, something we are all looking forward to, Tarzan, Lord of the Jungle, is coming to Quest in July.
Hey.
Oh, wait. I forgot. It's not Tarzan. It's Tarzan.
Tarzan, right.
Remember from their their little music video they did of it?
Yes.
I am Tarzan, Lord of the Jungle.
I have no idea how this game is going to be, but it doesn't look great.
Well, I've seen a playthrough, and hang on one second. He's barking too much. Dobby, come here. Stop. Oh. I will try to edit that part out, but it's a friend of my son's at the door, I think.
Gotcha.
So, anyways, yeah, I have seen gameplay of the Tarzan, and I'll pass.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I figured. Doesn't look like
the gorillas are really janky looking, and they're constantly like, Tarzan, go! Jane, help me! Go now!
Right, who can resist saving somebody under those conditions? Yeah, I agree. Tarzan's on my list for now, unless somebody comes back and says, no, this is not what it appears to be.
Right. So, I mean, it's a shame because a well-made Tarzan game, I would buy in a heartbeat.
Right.
You know, I'd buy that in a heartbeat. But this, I mean, in terms of, I guess, build quality is well-made enough, but in terms of game design, it just doesn't appeal to me.
Right. Well, look, there's so many games out there now that this is bound to happen. You know, at one time, we were so limited that you had to accept certain things. And
Right.
now
Right.
you don't. You know,
Right.
now you can say, nah, I'll wait for somebody else to,
Yeah.
which is nice. You know, it's like I tried to explain to a friend of mine the other day that the headsets that we now own are nothing like the headsets that we purchased in their
Yeah.
capabilities in all sorts, you know.
Yeah.
And people that don't own devices that do this, you know, just don't get it.
Right.
And it's very hard to explain to somebody how, you know, we're experiencing things with the same headset differently.
Right. Right. It's like the, the PlayStation wouldn't have a firmware update come out that would bump it from 120 hertz to 240 hertz or whatever necessarily, you know.
Right. Exactly. Most.
Or say, hey, did you know that there's been a camera installed in that this whole time that can track your hands? Well, we turned it on for you.
I know, or what they've turned off with version 30, where they turned off Go Live, which is kind of
Right.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I forgot to write that down in our news, but that is a good way to start our news. In version 30 of the Oculus Quest OS update, whatever you want to call it, it's just the software. They have removed the ability to go live to your Facebook timeline or a Facebook page, I believe. So,
Mhm.
or Google. Because, well, I'm guessing because they have not laid out all the reasons for it, but I am guessing that it's because not enough people were doing that, but they were noticing that there were a lot more people using casting. So they're going to focus on the casting and not the go live feature, which makes a little bit of sense. But casting and then getting that onto your Facebook page is a little bit more work. I mean, it gives you more control, but it is a little bit more work as well. So,
Right. More friction. And look what they're doing with the iOS now, where they're in beta, but where you can just use you and the game and an iPhone, and
yep,
all of a sudden you can get the third-party perspective, no green screen needed.
yep.
I think it only works for like 5 or 6 games so far, but still, that's pretty impressive.
Right. Well, yeah. The, the the game has to support it basically.
Right. Well, they showed the Beat Saber example, and
Yeah.
I got to say that is, considering there's no setup other than a phone, a program, and then you jump in and start playing, and you have a, you know, third-party view of you.
Right.
That sort of, for anybody that's ever made videos, you know that there's varying degrees of sophistication, and that's pretty sophisticated for just a camera, I got to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. So, anyways, on to our next bit of news. Resolution Games backs off of ads in Blast On. Regardless of your perspective on this, the vocal opposition to them won, and they are not testing ads in Blast On anymore. I think I've heard that they might take it to a different game over there that is currently a free one or something, but I'm not sure. That may just be a rumor that I heard.
You know, that would be fine. And the other thing would be very simply, they could do this. They could do the whole ad thing. They really can. All they have to do is use the posters and the decorations that are already in the room, you know, and they could go back to Sirento when you're in the subway and put these unobtrusive ads.
Well, yeah. Well, the ad that I saw in the example was exactly that. It was a poster that from the angle you would be at was not very obtrusive. And no offense to anybody out there who is disagreeing with me like you, but I think that Blast On was the perfect environment for it, and the only thing that it had going against it was that it was a game that people had already paid for. But it was a perfect environment because it's a very popular game, and it's the perfect environment because it's a sports arena, so it fits in world building wide to have ads in there, and there were perfect spots for ads that would be unobtrusive and fit in with the world. So it was the perfect test bed to get a lot of usage to data from the players, and because you can't go only by the Twitter comments, because that's most of the people historically and statistically, most people are not going to comment on social media about their feelings about that. They're just going to quietly do whatever about it. They're not going to post about it. So you can't go only by what people are saying on social media. And this would have been, thousands of data points about it. So it was the perfect test bed for it. The only drawback is that it was a game that people already paid for, and I still think that most of the opposition was not really about that. It's Facebook doing it. That's what was driving a lot of it, because a lot of the vocal opposition to it came from people who were already vocally opposed to Facebook.
Well, that is the point. And I don't want to get into all the fine points of this,
right.
But Facebook, if you look at something in game, knows what you're looking at and for how long you've looked. So,
or they have the potential to. I mean, they're not necessarily tracking that about each and every little object in the game, but they do have the potential to. Yes.
Well, they would certainly be tracking ads that they place.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
So, and as it is now, they look at colors that you look at. They do measure all these things when they want to in order to make their determination. Not like you're saying, they're not listening to just the extremes. They're actually seeing what people are doing.
Right.
And I think the biggest fear here is really, it's not the ad appearing in a thing like Blast On, because and once again, like I said, it could be on a subway in Sirenta, it could be anywhere that it's unobtrusive. The biggest problem comes in is when you just remember football is 4 15-minute quarters with a 15 minute to half hour break at halftime if you're playing real football.
Right.
If you want to throw ads and commercials, it becomes a 3-hour game.
Right.
So at what point do the posters now have moving parts to them as opposed to just stationary, and that unobtrusive starts losing the word
Well, on the other hand, when you are driving down a highway, how many times do you see electronic billboard ads switch? Most of them are still just static images, but there are a few that have had moving parts.
Yeah.
And the act of the switching technically is a moving part, and yet I haven't heard of any. Most people don't complain about that. If anything, they just complain about that's way too bright for when I'm driving past it at night. Yeah.
Well, there's all sorts of things. And as far as billboards go, as long as we allow billboards to be erected, then
right.
You choose a different road. You don't have to take that road if it offends you. But,
well, it's either to take the road lined with billboards and get there in 20 minutes in a straight line, or take back roads and get there in 40 minutes with a lot of intersections and stop signs and red lights and 25 mile per hour areas and yeah.
Do you want to be playing Demeo, and as you start to move your piece, the ad comes up and says, if you watch this for 3 minutes, you get an, you know what I
Well,
mean.
that's again an exaggeration. That's not the way it would be working in VR, because if it did work that way, people would stop playing the game. So it's not going to work that way.
I think that
I
was
know
the
what you mean,
first step.
but
Right.
yeah,
There's always a beginning, and the beginning tends to, once you open the door, it's very difficult to
true,
close it.
true. But at the same time, I think that the nature of this medium would preclude that kind of ad, because the users would not go and keep playing the game if that happened too often. Maybe if it happened one time out of every 100, maybe they would. But if it happened more often than that,
But you
developers
see,
would see, oh, our game isn't being played anymore. So
no,
I
I
think
do.
that the very nature of VR would itself act to prevent th that kind of ad, because on a mobile device, it is really super easy to go, oh, ad's gonna play for 30 seconds, okay, I'll go do something else. Nope, so it's still going. Okay, I'll do something. Oh, it's done. Okay, back to my game. You know,
Yeah.
VR, you can't do that, so people aren't going to put up with it.
Well, it would, right. It would be more of a blip for it. It would have to be a very unsustained thing that comes up quickly. They can make it cool. Once again, like I said, it's just if you open the door, they're going to find ways to make the ads
Oh,
entertaining.
well, and that's also part of. Well, I made a tweet that had mixed reactions. It's got about an equal number of people liking and they're disagreeing with it. But I basically said a lot of the reaction was from fear. And it is. It's from fear of where the ads are going to
Right.
go.
Like I said, opening the
But
door.
the problem is that's just fear. We don't know. Yes, we know mobile ads have so some of them go that way, but most games that have mobile ads that are popular ones don't go that way, because they know users don't like those ads, and there is an option to report offensive ads or ads that take over the whole screen, and a lot of people do, and the responsible developers remove that advertiser, or they remove the advertising, the plugin that allows for that to happen, and they switch to a different one that prevents that. Because I don't mind if I'm playing a mobile game and there's a little bar on the bottom that's just showing me stuff, and I can click if I want, but I can also just totally ignore it. I don't mind that. Or I don't mind if at the end of a round of Angry Birds, and I'm going back to the main menu, there's a, a, a 5-second ad or something, I don't necessarily mind that. Because again, I can just set it aside and wait or whatever, or just turn down the volume. Okay, done. I, I have options. But when it's an abusive ad, then that makes me uninstall the game, and that's true of a lot of people and the developers who are good developers. And right now, most developers in VR are the ones that are responsive and that care and that want to grow their game. And if they start losing people, they're going to react quickly and try to fix whatever is making them lose people. So, and I know that right now that can change in the future. I know, but we can't live on what ifs.
Well, sometimes you have to. Yeah. Sort of like that commercial. What's the difference between sure and pretty sure? I'm pretty sure we can make it as he's driving over the drawbridge. I'm pretty sure we.
Well, there was a video about someone doing just that not that long ago that I was like, wait, what? A person drove up a drawbridge as it was opening up, and they made the jump across.
Right, I'm pretty sure.
They had cops chasing them.
Well, that's an incentive. I mean, you have to think somebody really has to want to do that, man. That's a heck of a move.
Yeah, but it is possible. But yeah, no. Anyways, we need to move on because otherwise we're gonna burn up our last 9 minutes all on this.
Okay.
So, Steam Summer Sale and Oculus Summer Sale are both live. The Steam Summer Sale is pretty much going all month. Oculus, I think, has a shorter lifespan.
A couple of days more, I think, to go, and that's it.
Yeah. So, but go try to take a look at them. There's a lot of stuff on sale. Some of it is on great discounts. Some of it maybe not as much of a discount as you want, but just go take a look, see if there's anything that you want. And as we were mentioning earlier about Medium by Adobe, it is becoming part of the Substance suite in a new beta in a way that's different from how it already is. It's already officially part of the Substance by Adobe family, but now it's going to be more incorporated, and it is getting a new name, which is going to be Substance 3D Modeler.
And it has 4 different aspects to it, where you can create.
And it's going to have a flat interface as well, so that you can be in VR like you already know Medium set to work, but it's also going to have a mouse and keyboard interface as well for you to do on your computer. So
it's very cool. It should really help with the creation of between that and what Apple is doing with their Capture It.
Yeah. Now, the only thing is, I believe this new version will probably be a paid version. I think that they would be keeping the existing version on the Rift store and whatnot for free, but the new one, if it's in line with the other parts of the suite, will be like $40 a month.
Right.
So, which I don't like subscription prices for using a software.
Adobe has really gone that route, and I hate it. I really do think it's
yeah. So I mean, I'm like, let me just buy the software.
Right.
Oh, well, but then we'll have to charge you $1,000 for it. Why? Because you're Adobe. That's why.
Exactly. You could charge me the same $80 that Paintex would charge me, or JSX. Yeah. I mean, there's so many great painting programs. Photoshop is terrific, but $1,000.
Yeah. I mean, if I really wanted to, I could just use Sculptor And yeah, it's a little bit more limited in some of the tools, but it can do amazing stuff as well. Export that, and then go into Substance Designer,
Well,
or go into a lower priced alternative, and there are lower priced alternatives. There are even free alternatives, and I can do just as good work.
just not as quickly, probably. The
Probably
other is just more confined and
right,
works with you. You don't have to worry about will this work with this.
right,
It's all in a
right,
suite and that type of
right.
thing.
It'd be a little bit trickier, but there would likely be a workflow that would work. Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
So
but anyways, that's news for all the game developers out there that might use Medium. So another bit of news is there is a VR mod for Valheim, which has been getting great reviews. The VR mod has been, and the game itself obviously is as well. But and Valheim is currently on a 10% off sale.
there you go.
So if you've ever wanted to experience that in VR, or you wanted to play it, but because it's a flat game and you're like us and you don't really like flat games anymore,
Yeah.
now there's a VR mod for it. I believe it's on Nexus Mods. So
It really does hurt too because some of the flat pancake games are beautiful. Graphically, they are so gorgeous. Much nicer than the graphics that we're getting at this point in VR. But
sure.
still, trying to play that pancake game on a screen that's away from you with the controller in
Right.
your hand, there's just no comparison between that and 10 minutes of immersing yourself in
Right.
VR. It's just
Right.
it's just not there. I mean, it's fun as an alternative, but at this point, it's like even the Switch or any of the handheld games is like, why? Why?
Yeah. Yeah. Our next to last bit of news is AR hats. Facebook and evidently patented AR hats, which I know sounds funny, sounds ridiculous, but it's actually not a bad idea. The very best Bluetooth headphones that I ever had was built into a baseball cap. It was a pair of bone conduction transducers that were about right there, and a microphone that was tucked under the brim. And the microphone had excellent quality, and the bone conduction. Granted, if I hadn't had a haircut in a while, I had to tighten it quite a bit to get a good enough contact, but it was really good quality as well, and it left my ears free. It was comfortable. It worked. It was unobtrusive. Now, obviously, an AR hat would be a little bit less unobtrusive because you'd have this visor hanging down in front of you, but it's not a bad idea because that gives them so much area to work all of the hardware into, so that it is supported by your entire head rather than just here or here and the back of your head.
I understand what you're saying. I
So,
can just begin to imagine the heat buildup because I know when Vive first put out their wireless converter and people were burning their skulls by wearing this wireless converter.
that's a different story.
So, putting something on my head that's going to contain the electronics as well.
Well, I like to think that Facebook already knows about how to handle heat dissipation at least a little bit, because we have these devices called the Oculus Quest 2 that do a fairly good job of that.
Well, yes, they do a better job than the original Quest
Yeah.
1. Not quite what's being promised in the Vive
Focus 3,
Focus
yeah,
3.
with the fans blowing on your cheekbones and whatnot. And,
Right, exactly. It seems very nice, to be very honest with you. That would be a nice plus. Once again, we have to see where it all goes. You know, it really is a work in progress. So
well, and so just because this is a patent, it doesn't mean it's ever going to come to reality. It just means someone there went, "Hey, I think this would be a great way of implementing it. Let's patent it so that no one else can use this idea unless we release the patent, or
it's sort of like the original Jedi game that they had, where you had the phone placed in the visor to be able to create the image on your headset.
So that was Lenovo, yeah.
So, same type of idea, except you don't have to walk around with a Jedi helmet. You can walk around with a baseball cap or a pith helmet.
Well, no, the Lenovo thing was a headset. It was an HMD that you had to put that phone into, but so was the Gear VR. And so is Project North Star from Leap Motion. You still have to put a phone into that. And all of the phone-less AR headsets are still headsets. They are goggles that you have to put on and wear. So some of them are like the HoloLens. They sit here and they're hanging down in front of you like a visor. So all this would be doing is changing the strap to a hat. Which
can you see the heat buildup?
Has pros and cons.
Right. Let's see where it goes.
If they handle it right, heat buildup not an issue. Because heat buildup could be an issue with just the strap as well. That's all the design of the hardware. Because my Bluetooth bone conduction cap, guess what? Had a battery in it. Heat buildup could have been an issue. It wasn't. Granted that uses a lot less power than an AR headset would. But still, the point is, it could have been an issue because you've got a cap trapping all the heat. Well, yeah, but they designed it in a way so that it wasn't an issue. And if the Facebook is at least half as smart as they think they are, they will design it so heat buildup not an issue. If they go with this idea.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you, other than the fact that their choice for material on the HMD that needed to be replaced by VR cover because it was causing facial problems. It was actually causing dermatological problems. Okay?
Well, all that means is that they didn't have enough of a testing pool that happened to have people so sensitive to that material.
It's a lot of people. I mean, so.
Well, yeah, but out of the total population and out of the total number of VR users, it could very well be that they just happened to have a sample pool for the testing of it that didn't include anybody that was so sensitive to it.
Well, let's also let's not forget the Elite head strap with the breakable.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, there was a few different things that they rushed here. So let's
but still, the point is, if they are at least half as smart as they think they are, they will, at the very least, make an effort to possibly, conceivably, maybe, hopefully.
I got it. They're doing this so that it works, not so that it doesn't.
Make the heat dissipation not an issue. I understand that they may fail at that, but they may not fail at that as well. They may succeed. So, anyways, moving on to our last bit of news. Stride is testing a multiplayer add-on. It's going in early alpha, I think, soon. So that would be interesting. Multiplayer VR parkour Mirror's Edge. Or maybe they'll end up doing it like The Climb, where you are racing the ghost of a friend. I don't know, but it'd be more fun if it were multiplayer with you two side by side.
Which the other thing is that we haven't mentioned, and before we leave, we should say that Impossible Robert, by the way, thank you, Impossible Robert,
right,
has created a multiplayer version of Traversal, and I don't believe it's released yet, but it's been teased.
He is working on it, right? Yeah.
And
I forgot about that. Thank you for bringing that up.
Which would be awesome, being able to use your play space. And we were having this huge technical discussion about what you would need to be able to do it, and he jumps in and goes, "By the way, guys,
I gotta work."
Right. So I'm really looking forward to trying that too. And once again, thanks, Impossible Robert, and we really appreciate having you on the MVR Discord. You're a great guy.
And have you finished moving all of your furniture in preparation of that yet?
I have 2 more pieces that are fairly big that have to be moved, but yes, the preparations are well underway. So this week,
just chuck them out the window. You don't need them.
There you go. Why didn't I think of that?
Geronimo! Oh, sorry. Step out your head.
Well, it's a good way of getting rid of annoying neighbors.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, on that note, that brings us to the end of the podcast, where we unfortunately must re-tether ourselves to reality for a little bit until next week.
Oh, well. But you don't have to. You could just jump onto your headset after you get off this and try playing Traversal.
Or Forever Ball.
Either one.
Or maybe there will be a Traversal bowling game at some point. That'd be interesting.
Impossible Robert. Okay. So everybody enjoy your weekend.
Have a great week. Thank you for watching. And if you made it this far, remember to like and subscribe and use your friend's head to hit that bell icon so you get notified. And share with your friend first that they should also like and subscribe so that they can then use your head to smash that bell icon. Mutual head smashing.
I think that's the next game coming out in 2 weeks, but we'll talk about that.
All right. On a more serious note, thank you. Have a great rest of your day, week, whatever. Bye.
Bye.